Hey YouTube, welcome back. Glad to see you guys are here. Hey, listen, let's see. This one's just a little church, and I'll tell you right off, I would love to have gotten some information for you. I'd really like to know about this little church. I used to loosely, look at the history of churches, but I haven't found anything on this one. So other than there's a sign at the end of the video. I put the picture of the photograph I took and the picture of the sign that was at this church. And this is Nuestra Señora de la Asunción. Asunción? I'm not sure how they say that. So I thought we'd use a little bit of Indian ink today. And it's kind of fun every once in a while. I enjoy playing with it. I've kind of been practicing lately Ralph Steadman style. I don't know if you guys know who he is. Hunter S. Thompson, one of my favorite authors of all time. Wild and crazy guy, holy cow. I'm sure a lot of people don't care for Hunter S. Thompson, but I did. So, anyway, yeah, he committed suicide, 5-6 years ago? Thompson did. Anyway, Steadman's the guy that illustrated things like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, some of Thompson's books. And he's got a really loose style. So the point is, I've been playing with the Indian ink lately because Steadman is big on splatters, ink splatters and things of that nature. There's no splatters in this. Just a cute little, for the holiday season, I thought I'd continue making things that are holiday related. And this is an old Catholic, I assume it was a mission church. And I believe, I haven't been able to find any information, like I said, but I got the photograph. My wife, Sherry, and I took off, I guess this has got to be almost a year ago. And we just took off on a all-day trip, photographing churches. We went, close to 400 miles round trip. Just, we barely stopped to eat. And there's a lot of little churches in New Mexico that, date back to the late 1700s or mid 1700s, and a lot of them in the 1800s. That are still churches today. I mean, they're still in use, so if you do go photograph them, you want to try and be respectful of the community there, because a lot of these, like this one, if I'm not mistaken, this is just off the old Taos Highway. So if you leave Santa Fe and head to Taos, get to Espanola and turn up toward Chimayo, and somewhere up in there you take a left, and it's the old Taos Highway. Winds around through Peñasco, and Truchas is up there, which Truchas has a really neat church to paint. And this one, I don't know if I depicted it well, but it sits up on a hill, and it's really pretty hard to photograph. So the angle that I was at, if you'll see, I put a slight angle to the front, the part I'm painting right there is the wall, but the part above it is a little angled because the camera angle, that's why you can't see the roof of the place, is it's a very low camera angle because the thing's really up on a hill. So it was kind of interesting to me because these buttresses that are on the front of it to keep the walls from falling down weren't the same height. They were different, and they're not even designed. I mean, one has one step and the other one I think has 3 or 4, I can't remember. I didn't pay strict attention to it, as always, you know. Also, as I'm sure you'll know if you've been watching the last few videos, I drew this one a bit taller than the church actually is. You know, I make postcards, so occasionally with them, so I'm looking for vertical format things. And this is just what I'm using there is just ultramarine blue, and I got lazy and just put in a little bit of Payne's gray with it. So my darks on this, when you see, I will darken up the background mountain there, and that's ultramarine blue and Payne's gray, and I think I used cerulean blue there for the door and the front of the church. And that front obviously was white, but I needed something to play off the snow. Also, you'll notice I didn't put the blue down like I normally do for the trees and the snow and stuff. I just left it white this time. Thought it'd be, I think when you see the painting at the end, you'll think it worked out. It's all right. So yeah, I'm just going back in here. I'm just trying to put a little movement, you know, in the mountain back there. I don't want too much detail. And after this dries, I think I go back with a little bit more to just kind of indicate some trees back there. If you're going to do one, obviously the photograph wasn't taken in winter time, and when you see it, you'll see that the you know, Christmas trees in the background, the pine trees there are not necessarily there. Although I think the mountain is, if I remember right, it may be covered in juniper. It's the altitude of the church is reasonably high. I assume it's 7,000–8,000 feet where this is. Maybe it's only 7, but there are junipers in the area. However, you're just a mile or two from going into national forest where there's pretty tall pine trees and things like that. Yeah. So I try to get a little bit of dry brushing on the snow there with the blue highlights. And I'm just putting in, this is that same mixture. I believe I was just using blue with just a little bit of Payne's gray in it. Have anybody watched Godless? It's a really violent show, short, I don't know, mini series or something like that. Bunch of my friends worked on it, but holy mackerel. My wife sews in the living room sometimes, and so she doesn't always watch the whole movie. She sews while the movie's playing in the background. Anyway, she went through the whole thing in I think 3 days. Watched all the episodes. I don't know how many there are, but I think she even paid attention to some of them. She liked it. Apparently, it's a town full of ladies, because the men got something happened to the men. I saw the first episode, but I don't spoiler alert, you know. I don't want to give you any heads up if you haven't seen it. But the part I saw was pretty good. Just I really don't have the time to watch much television. So, hey, you know what I was just doing there? You saw me with my thumb picking at the thing. You have to really be careful if you're not using fresh paint, which I really am trying to change my habit, I've got several palettes with paint in them, so I'm trying to use that up. And I typically moisten the paint the night before, and then put a little more water in it the day I use it. My point in telling you that is that some of the colors, like the ultramarine blue, when it dries, it turns into little chips, and it takes quite a bit to get the chips out. You need to soak it, mix it around, and so I think I'm going to switch as I empty these palettes. I'm going to switch to using only things out of the tube that day. You know, the things that you know, put a little bit of paint in my palette and use it straight out of or use it from the tube, and not let it dry out so much at night, or not have so much in the palette. And I don't fill them up. I don't fill up the little you know, the little cups. There's a name for them, I can't think of it, but anyway, I don't fill them up. But because most of my watercolor work is small, I do this, and I do a lot of journaling, you know, a lot of watercolor in little sketchbooks and urban sketching, things like that. So, but the point is, with the smaller formats, I don't go through a lot of paint. Well, there's the painting. Let's put a mat on it, and I'll give it a signature. I'm going to show you my palette here in just a moment, and I don't know, one of these times I'm really going to get, for those of you who paint, I'll go through it, and I do show you my little scribbled notes of what paint is in the palette, and maybe you can read it if you pause, I don't know. But anyway, as is usual, I really did have a ball painting this one. It was fun, it's fast, I hope you give it a try. Ah, doodly poop. The pictures there, I left a photograph of the thing and a photograph of the sign that was out front, and like I say, there is one, Nuestra Senora de Asunción, but it is at Zia Pueblo, and this one is not at Zia Pueblo. Hey, y'all take care, paint something, do some art, and I will see you on the next one. Take care now.